my girlfriend and my coworker, I'm done. It started subtly. Like a low hum you barely register, but that's always there. Sarah, my girlfriend of 3 years, started staying late at work more often. Big project, she'd say, kissing me quickly before rushing out the door. I didn't think much of it at first. We both worked hard, and I knew her job in marketing could get demanding. David, my coworker, was becoming a good friend. We bonded over shared frustrations with the company's outdated software, grabbed lunch together most days. He was always supportive, always ready with a listening ear. Sarah seems stressed, he mentioned one afternoon. Maybe plan a weekend getaway? Surprise her. I appreciated the thought. I really did. But then things started too. Sarah wasn't just staying late. She was distant. When I tried to cuddle with her on the couch, she'd stiffen, claiming she was tired. Sex became infrequent, almost perfunctory. I tried to initiate conversations, to connect, but she'd brush me off, saying she had too much on her mind. One Saturday, she told me she was going to brunch with her girlfriends, Liam's girlfriend Chloe being one of them. I was planning to spend the day working on my own project, a side hustle app I was building. Later that afternoon, I ran into Chloe at the grocery store. "Hey Mark," she said, grabbing some avocados. "How's your day going?" "Good, just picking up a few things," I replied. "How was brunch with Sarah?" Chloe frowned. "Brunch? I haven't seen Sarah all day. I was helping Liam with his fantasy football draft." A cold knot formed in my stomach. Sarah had lied. I tried to shake it off. Maybe she'd gotten the days mixed up. Maybe she'd gone to brunch with other friends. But the seed of doubt had been planted, and it was starting to sprout. Then there were the texts. Sarah's phone buzzed constantly. She'd smile at the screen, but when I asked who it was, she'd just say, "Work stuff." One evening, I saw her typing furiously, giggling to herself. "Who's so funny?" I asked. She jumped, quickly locking her phone. "Just Emily," she said, a little too quickly. "We're planning a surprise party for Ben." Emily was another coworker. It seemed plausible enough. But I'd also noticed the way Sarah and David interacted at the office. The lingering eye contact, the inside jokes I wasn't privy to. At a recent company happy hour, I saw them in a corner, talking intensely. When I approached, they abruptly stopped, their faces flushed. I dismissed it as paranoia, fueled by my own insecurities. I brought it up with Sarah one night. "I feel like we're drifting apart," I said, trying to keep my voice calm. "Are you happy?" She sighed, rolling her eyes. "Mark, not this again." "I'm fine. You're just being insecure. I'm working hard, that's all." "Can't you just trust me?" Her defensiveness stung. "It's not about trust," I said, even though it was exactly about trust. "It's about feeling connected, about feeling like we're a team." "Well, maybe if you weren't so obsessed with your stupid app, you'd notice I'm stressed," she snapped. I recoiled. Her words were like a slap in the face. I felt suddenly terribly alone. I started confiding in Emily. She was a good listener, offering a sympathetic ear without judgment. "I don't want to tell you what to do," she said one day, "but trust your gut. If something feels off, it probably is." Her words validated my growing suspicions. I felt a surge of anxiety, a desperate need to know the truth. One evening, I went to the gym. Sarah was already there, working out on the treadmill. I joined her, running next to her for a few minutes. "Hey," I said, trying to sound casual. "I'm thinking of switching up my routine. What time do you usually come here?" "Oh, she said vaguely. "Whenever I have time. It's different every day." I went to the front desk later, asking the woman if she could check Sarah's check-in times for the past few weeks. She hesitated, citing privacy concerns. I explained I just wanted to coordinate our schedules. After a bit of persuasion and a generous tip, she relented. The log showed Sarah had been coming to the gym almost every day around 6:30 p.m. when I was usually still at work. And, according to the system, David was at the gym frequently at the same time. She was there before me some days and left just before he got there. The pieces were starting to fall into place, forming a picture I desperately didn't want to see. Then came the final blow. I was sitting on the couch one evening, scrolling through my phone, when Sarah left her phone unattended on the coffee table. A notification popped up. A text message. Can't wait to see you tonight. I grabbed my keys and walked out of the apartment, needing to clear my head before I did something I'd regret. I drove aimlessly for hours. The image of that text message burned into my brain. The next day, Sarah told me she was having dinner with her girlfriends again. I said nothing, just nodded. I knew where she was really going. I waited until she left, then followed her in my car. She drove to a small, upscale restaurant on the outskirts of town. I parked across the street, my heart pounding in my chest. I watched as she got out of her car and walked inside. A few minutes later, David arrived. He went inside too. I waited a few more minutes, gathering my courage. Then, I crossed the street and walked into the restaurant. I spotted them immediately. They were sitting at a table in the corner, holding hands across the table. They were laughing, sharing intimate glances. The sight of them together, so comfortable, so at ease, sent a wave of nausea through me. I walked over to their table. "Sarah," I said, my voice trembling. "David." They both looked up, their faces stricken with panic. "Mark?" Sarah stammered. "What are you doing here?" "I think I know exactly what's going on here," I said, my voice rising. "Don't insult me by pretending you don't." Sarah's face flushed. "Mark, it's not what you think." "Oh, really?" "Because it looks exactly like my girlfriend is having an affair with my coworker," I said, my voice dripping with sarcasm. David looked down, avoiding my gaze. Sarah squeezed his hand. "Mark, please," she said, her voice pleading. "Let's talk about this at home." "There's nothing to talk about," I said. "I'm done." "It's not like that. Mark, you are never here anymore. You are always on your projects and pushing me aside. He was just there for me." Sarah cried. David finally spoke up, his voice barely above a whisper. "I'm sorry, Mark. I never meant for this to happen." "You're sorry?" I scoffed. "You betrayed me, both of you. You lied to me. You manipulated me. You broke my heart." I turned to Sarah. "I'm leaving. When I get back, I expect you to be gone." I turned and walked out of the restaurant, leaving them sitting there, their faces pale with guilt. The drive home was a blur. When I walked into the apartment, Sarah was already packing her bags. "How could you do this to me?" I asked, my voice thick with emotion. "Don't act like you're so innocent," she said, her eyes flashing with anger. "You've been distant for months. You're always working, always preoccupied. David actually cares about me." "So, that gives you the right to cheat on me," I said, incredulous. "Maybe if you had paid more attention to me, this wouldn't have happened," she retorted. "That's bullshit," I said, my voice rising. "This is about you. You made a choice. And you chose him." "Well, maybe he is better," Sarah cried. "Get out," I said, my voice cold. "Just get out." She slammed the door behind her, leaving me standing alone in the apartment we had shared for 3 years. I called Liam and Chloe, telling them everything that had happened. They were shocked and supportive, offering to come over and keep me company. "Those two are dead to me," Liam said, his voice filled with rage. "Don't worry, we're here for you." The pain of betrayal was a constant ache in my chest. I avoided David at work, but the tension was palpable. He tried to apologize, but I refused to listen. I couldn't even look at him without feeling a surge of anger and disgust. I went to HR and reported David's behavior. I didn't care about the consequences. I just wanted him out of my life. He was ultimately placed on probation and had to take mandatory sensitivity training. Emily was a lifeline during this time. She listened patiently as I vented my anger and sadness. She offered practical advice, helping me navigate the logistical nightmare of separating our lives. "You're going to get through this," she said one evening as we sat in a coffee shop. "You're stronger than you think." Her words gave me a sliver of hope. Slowly, gradually, I started to rebuild my life. I focused on my work, throwing myself into my app project. I spent time with my friends, rediscovering the joy of their company. I started going to the gym again, this time by myself. One evening, Emily invited me to dinner. "Just as friends," she clarified, her cheeks flushing. I accepted. I enjoyed her company, her wit, her genuine kindness. We talked for hours about everything and nothing. I found myself laughing, truly laughing, for the first time in weeks. As we were walking back to our cars, I stopped her. "Thanks, Emily," I said, my voice sincere. "I really needed this." She smiled, her eyes sparkling. "Anytime, Mark. I'm glad I could help." We stood there for a moment, the silence stretching between us. Then I leaned in and kissed her. It was a tentative kiss, a hesitant exploration, but it felt right. It felt good. When we pulled away, we both smiled. "Maybe we could do this again sometime," I said. "I'd like that," she replied. I watched as she drove away, a sense of cautious optimism filling me. I knew it would take time to heal, to trust again. But for the first time in a long time, I felt like I was moving forward. I felt like I was finally free.